interviewing an engineer who practices in software engineering. So we're going to ask him a couple of questions and we'll see what he has. Hello, how are you?
Hi, pleased to meet you.
Hello. Would you please introduce yourself and explain the engineering field that you are a part of?
Yes, my name is Andrew Wilford. I'm a software engineer in the electronic design automation industry, EDA. I've been doing this for the last 16 years. I actually work out of my house for a company in California. It's a very small company, so I get to be involved in a lot of different parts of the business, which is interesting. I get to write the software, design the software. I get to deal with bug reports, deal directly with customers, with tech support. So it's really interesting. I get to see a lot of different parts that the job involves. Most software engineers typically will do more just one part of the job, but I find it interesting because I get to do different parts. Not everybody would.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you please explain how this career has changed and developed throughout the time you have been a part of it?
Well, it's interesting. It's changed two ways. Obviously, I've been in the same job 16 years, so the software, the hardware, the machinery that lets me do my job has become a lot more powerful. We can do things now which we couldn't do 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. At the same time, the actual work I'm involved in, electronic design, that is the design of microchips, printed circuit boards, cell systems, those things have changed over time as well, which has kept the job interesting because you can imagine 15, 16 years ago, the technology that was available to actually design microelectronics was not as developed as it is today. It was advanced, but as things have got smaller and smaller, we have smartphones now, which do things which were much larger 15 years ago. So the hardware to design those systems and the software on them has had to try and keep up. Whereas 10 years ago we were talking about tens of thousands of transistors, now we're talking about hundreds of thousands, millions. Everything has to keep up so that we can design, new hardware.
Right. What devices and programs do you use in this type of engineering?
I use a lot of, obviously, computers. I have systems, Windows PCs. I also have machines that run the Solaris operating system. We also support Linux. We don't have any Apple products because typically the type of design work we do requires more powerful hardware, more powerful software. I use a lot of Microsoft development tools. We also, because we have to work with design systems, the actual software which designs microchips and printed circuit boards, those pieces of software are so large, they usually have their own integrated languages. So I've had to learn a lot of custom languages along the way to interface with those systems, to extract data from one engineering database and bring it into another one. So that's kept it interesting too, because I get to learn a lot of languages which most software engineers wouldn't get to learn.
Right. What kind of educational path would you recommend for people interested in this career?
Well, I think anything STEM-based. Myself, my major was in mathematics. My minor was in physics. When I was young, when I was the age of you guys, I was playing with 8-bit microprocessors, very old systems, pre-PC, when we were still writing software by hand in assembler, a long time ago. And I got into it as an interest, as a hobby, and then that progressed. And it wasn't until I actually graduated college that I started to look at software as a viable career path. It's something which I've been interested in as a hobby, but I realized that a lot of the skills I had learned while in school would benefit me. But a lot of the things you learn in mathematics, for instance, a lot of the logic and the algebra, it's invaluable. And in fact, I would honestly say that it really helped me get the job I got, because at the time, the problems that the company I worked for were trying to solve were geometry based. How can we detect that this thing is inside of this thing? So it was much more math intensive than actually, how do I write this in code? And I learned a lot of the programming actually on the job. So it was a good fit for me at the time.
Explain a day in the life of a software engineer.
A day in the life. Well, like I say, I get to most days I'm either adding new features to software for our customers, or fixing bugs. We all make mistakes, and nothing runs perfectly the first time. And as I mentioned earlier, because it's a small company, I could be taking tech support calls. I could be on meetings. We're very fortunate. For years we've done things by telephone, but now with so much video conferencing, and because the company I work for is in California, and our customers are all over the world, I actually spend some part of my day video conferencing and talking to customers, seeing their systems, showing me what their actual problems are or what new features they want adding, and then obviously some time coding. It's nice to work at home because my schedule is flexible. So yeah, it's enjoyable. It's challenging. I get to do math, which I like. So I would really recommend it as a career path for anybody interested in any part of STEM.
Cool, awesome. Okay, so just a little question. It was the earlier questions we said, like, what type of softwares, like, what type of coding softwares, like languages?
Well, I use C++.
Okay.
Like I say, also some of the languages that I've written have been proprietary to certain other software tools.
Okay.
There's a language called Skill, which is kind of a cross between C++ and Lisp. I've also done some .NET work, some VB.NET work. Also, actually done some website design too. One time we did some work for a very large electronics company who required us to do an online database where their customers would fill in information about they were trying to drop a mic chip into an existing printed circuit board, and we had to design a website with a backend database, which would, from the information they put in a form on the website, would pick out the chip that matched and then display to them which one they wanted to choose.
Okay. So as we have just interviewed him with this great job of software engineering, using all different languages, and also having that integration with STEM, we now see that this job is now used everywhere. Like if we look at different softwares, like if we think of Windows or any of those big software companies, they all have him, like he's designing and creating all these things that make our everyday lives better.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're welcome. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.